to do
Yeah.
you still want to do the thing?
What about you? Do you want to wait until next month?
That's up to you. I mean, it's here. You want to do it. I just thought the more guys would want to see it unless you're going to watch the recording.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to throw one out there, Mike. I know talking to Tim Baker and Bill Carlson and stuff, they normally just wait for the recording and then watch it.
Oh, they do?
So I don't know whether it's just because they,
I think there's a lot that do that.
yeah, because that way they can fast forward through different pieces and parts or whatever, I think. So.
All right. Well,
but it would be really, I gotta tell you, Al, it'd be really great to get Timmy and the other guys back on, so you have a little face-to-face collaboration.
I've talked to them just about, well, I usually call both of them about a week before these meetings and remind them, but for some reason, they're just not getting on. I know Tim's got a lot of things going on. His sister-in-law is pretty sick. And sister's not doing well. And I'm not sure about Bill Carlson, although he's coming to visit me this weekend for overnight.
Is he?
He and Bonnie are showing up for a little bit because he's going to Phoenix for his aunt's 90th birthday. So he said he's only 3 hours away. He's going to stop.
Good.
So that'll be nice. But unfortunately, I mean, I talk to Tim probably once a month or so, but he's just so wound up with Susan and Ann and the family stuff. So
Tell Bill I said hi. I don't know if you remember this, but he asked me to be his best man when he got married.
oh, is that right?
Yeah, and he hadn't been in the Corps that long, but I was honored. And then I bought.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think Mike has put in together a nice little presentation for us. And so maybe what we could do is just skip some of the other, because Bob's not here, Zarfos isn't here, and Doug Lind, I had some stuff from him, but he's traveling in Alaska.
And Gary Hodges said he couldn't make it. So.
Yeah, Gary
He's
can't
on the road too.
So let's do this. Let's just let Mike go ahead and share with us kind of what happened to him after he got out of the Drum and Bugle Corps. So Mike, you go ahead and take over, and we'll just let you do your presentation. I am recording it.
okay.
And we'll just go ahead with that and see where it goes from there.
And so like Spike mentioned before that I wound up getting I didn't stay involved in music. Although I followed drum corps, I know a lot of guys stayed involved with music, but I got a degree in chemistry, and then I wound up being in the paint business. And it led me all over the place. And I finally, my last 15 years of working, I wound up working for Disney. And when we went to Disney and marched in, Main Street, I thought this would be a great place to work. But that was like in 66, and then, back, 2004, now all of a sudden I'm working at Disney. So I had a lot of knowledge, and they happened to be looking for somebody with my background. So that's the basic story that I told HR. And the guy asked me, well, why do you want to work for Disney? And I told him, and he bought it. So it just worked out real well. So I have a lot of slides. This is only a few slides that I put together today of some of the backstage stuff that I used to get involved in. And so what do I do now? Just share screen, John?
Yeah, just like we did. Just hit the share screen. And there you go. There you go.
Okay.
Now hit your slideshow, and everybody should see Mike.
Everybody see that?
There, his
yeah.
See that?
Okay.
Yeah.
I see
So
Mickey and Minnie in the castle.
Mike, I have a question though for you before you start. Where'd you go to college?
It used to be called the Philadelphia College of Textiles and Science. I was 30 years old when I wound up going to college. I worked at the Philadelphia Mint for several years, where I met my wife. And then I just realized there has to be something better. And the Philadelphia College of Textiles and Science had a program for older people. And in fact, my wife was pregnant with our first kid, and I had to go for the interview. I said, well, you come with me. It'll buy me some points. So it did. They wound up accepting me. So, you know, with the GI Bill, we didn't have to pay for them. So I went 4 years, you know, on the GI Bill, and I got wound up with a degree in chemistry.
Wow.
And so it was a lot of work, especially I got homework on the first day. I said, I'm not going back, but I stuck it out. My wife was very supportive. So this is a sort of a compilation. I was like the main paint guy for Disney. I was the chemist for Disney. I worked all over the world. They had sent me to Hong Kong and Shanghai. I worked in Hawaii so I worked in parks, resorts, and a new resort in Hawaii. So I've worked in Disneyland. So they've sent me all over the place, and it's been a good education. So some of this is some of the main stuff that I did just about every day when I was there. So I'm going to start. So the first thing, I don't know if anybody's been to Disney World, but they were building Avatar when that came out. And these are actually the floating mountains. That's what it looks like. And they have one giant steel beam that it's kind of hard to imagine how big this is, but it's like 7 feet wide by like 5 feet thick. That is a big sweeping arm and they cover it with ivy and leaves and stuff. So the mountain actually looks like it's floating. So that's what the inner workings of the floating mountain is. So I've been involved with all, just for the paints and coatings for the inside, for the cathodic protection, and the theme painting for the outside.
Wild.
Then this is on the left is Dinosaur Sue. That's an exact replica of the Tyrannosaurus Rex that's in the Chicago Museum of Natural History. That it was the most complete skeleton that they got, and we got the license to put that up in Animal Kingdom in Dino Land. And once a year, I had to do an inspection to see if there's any repairs and recommend a paint system to just extend the life of it. And it's mostly made out with fiberglass. And then, of course, checking the dinosaurs' tonsils. That's the one on the right.
Tonsils.
And I worked on the Tree of Life. So what's interesting about this thing is all the leaves on there, they're made out of a Teflon. So each leaf is put on there individually, and it's just got a system and they do not fade. They just last. They've been in place at this time of the inspection. Animal Kingdom was 10 years old. So it was, but I had a lot of opportunities to be in unique places where a lot of guests and stuff can't go. And this is the Japanese restaurant in Epcot. It's just another thing I had to do. Go check paints and coatings, and this is every day. And they have crews painting 24/7. There's always somebody out getting something done. This was at Hollywood Studios. It used to be MGM, but they went through a name change. Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster. This was one of my favorites. Huh?
One of my favorites.
It's one of my favorite icons. I love doing the icons. And we had to get a candy apple finish on there. And we had to do this during the day. They would have a scrim around it. So the guests couldn't see what was going on, but it took 15 coats of paint to get to that depth of red. So that's what it looks like. But doing the icons was sort of my favorite thing to do. Now this
Mike,
is not
I can't tell from here. Is that a Strat or a Telly?
Yes, it is.
Which one?
whatever Steven Tyler plays. I don't.
No, I
even
don't
know.
remember, and I can't see the headstock, but I think it's a Stratocaster.
Well, you know
actually.
what? There's no rear headstock because the neck goes out and then it sort of goes around into like a roller coaster. It breaks
Okay.
it down into track.
Well, just that double cutaway. Yeah, that tells me. Okay.
So this was Catastrophe Canyon, which it was a part of a backstage tour. And this truck fell off into the canyon and blew up every day, several times a day. So this was just before they dismantled it and they were putting in a new attraction. They started getting ready for Star Wars back then. This is Lights Motor Action. This is also gone away. And the little show car from Herbie was there, and that's a half a car that rides around during the show. And I always had to do some type of hijinks coming out of that. That's just a storefront. There's nothing back there. This is one of my favorites. This was Christmas time. We had to do an inspection of all the spires, and we were in this crane that actually in a bucket, and I'm in the bucket over here, lifts you up over the spires in the castle. So we did inspections on everything that's on there. And the best thing
Mike,
is,
you were up that high?
yeah,
You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
well, no, I was
I
in
look
a
at
little
it and
bucket.
my stomach starts turning.
Oh yeah, I'm about ready to vomit just saying.
The thing is, the castle, nothing is more than 199 feet. Of course, if it gets to 200 feet, the FAA requires you to put a little red light on it, and they wouldn't do that. So
6 feet's
it's
enough
at
for me.
199 feet. But there's a Magic Kingdom with nobody in it. Anybody you see in there will be just, just workers or cast members. There it is again. That's my favorite. Disney's really nice, except for the guests. They're the ones that pays everybody's salary and bills. So
They're the ones buying the tickets.
yeah, and then we were there. This was a while ago. They've done a lot more. This is what the castle looks like at Christmas time.
Big
What?
Christmas tree.
Mike,
Yes, yeah,
was it a Disney a good company to work for? Did you think?
yes. I never felt like I worked a day in my life, and that was one of Walt Disney's quotes. You know, if you love what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life. And I just had a ball there for. Like I told John earlier, I worked for them for 12 years. I retired and I consulted with them for 3 more. So about 15 years with Disney. This is it. You'll be interesting. This is the castle suite. It's actually in the castle. And it was an apartment that they were supposed to build for Walt Disney when he would come visit. But unfortunately, he died before this park ever opened. So they used to use this for like a rec room or something, a day room for a lot of the cast. They would go up there and, take a break and stuff. So what they made this into a suite where they have certain ambassadors that come out and pick people at random to stay in this suite in the castle for a night. And the thing is, it's about 1,100 square feet. And to rehab it, it costs $52 a square inch. So you guys want to figure that out, how much it costs, you go right ahead, but it's some big major bucks. And there I go, trying everything out, including the royal can. They bought an antique desk from Denmark that's in there. I didn't have a picture of it. They paid $27,000 for it, and they cut it apart to put the connections for a computer, outlets, USB, and all that stuff. Just money doesn't make a difference. They want the authenticity.
Wow.
That's crazy.
There's me in the Swiss Family Robinson tea house, the tree house. That's in Magic Kingdom as well. And I thought you guys would enjoy this. Just about every 4th of July, the Thunderbirds would have a flyover and over Magic Kingdom. This one on the right, this is over Epcot. And then this was just a pleasure to watch. And
Where were they flying out of, Mike? Was that over there,
Yeah,
Tampa,
well,
whatever that base
but
is?
they came out of Orlando. It was either there or Patrick Air Force Base.
Okay.
So then I got involved with all the little characters all around the property. These are some of the icons at the resorts. There's construction discussions I'd have constantly.
Right in with Goofy.
Yeah, here I thought I was talking to a VP. I put that up there, and because they're kind of dead from the neck up. So, hey, no offense to anybody who's a VP in the crowd here. Here's the mayor. There's a little carpooling going Animal Kingdom. And I ruining a tender moment.
Sleeping Beauty.
I cannot resist. I mean,
Where's that
Here's-
guy's left hand?
yeah,
It
it's down my
disappeared.
shirt. Does everybody know Admiral Akbar from Star Wars?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He told
It's
the
a
best
trap.
jokes.
I thought he was bigger.
He's only half. There's nothing from the body, from the counter down.
Oh,
And here's some of the icons that they had on property. The Spalding Cam, this was for the sports section. They have a sports movies and these are like stairwells that connect all the air. So they would have all this stuff all over they call these the economical resorts. Then I worked on planes, trains, and automobiles. And Walt Disney was very big with trains. He loved trains. He had giant scales on his property in California. He's just in love with trains. And there's me working on some of you can't see me over here, but when we're looking at the hulls of the ferry boats, they had to be sandblasted and a zinc coating put on there so they wouldn't corrode before they apply them. So I was in the paint business, but I wasn't in the paint business till I got to Disney because I got to paint everything people don't even know about. There's Walt's plane, and they had that dock there behind Hollywood Studios, and he actually flew in from California, and they had a landing strip not far from here when they were coming in looking at the places, the areas to buy when they were buying up all the land. In fact, when we went to Disney in the Corps, I remember we were driving through some swamp area in Brodsky. John Brodsky told me, he says, Walt Disney's buying all this swamp land, and I couldn't figure out why. And then, here it is years later. I'm just astounded. And this is the inside looked like it went through a crash. And there's one thing I forgot to mention about, the Magic Kingdom. There's a lot of swampland that they built everything on, but Main Street is actually 15 feet above the ground. Underneath is a tunnel system where you could go down and you could go to any part of Magic Kingdom under the tunnel. But it is the Main Street is like 15 feet above grade. So everything else is under the tunnel, and they have a barber shop in there. I used to go get my hair cut. They have a bank for cast members. I don't know how many times I've seen Cinderella in her underwear walking around carrying her goddamn dress. So there's been a lot of stuff you see down there.
Hey, Mike, just a strange question. Why is the interior of that aircraft in such bad shape?
I had no idea. Nobody ever knew why. It just was here for so many years. They just never took care of it. It looked like it was in a crash.
Mhm.
This is one of my things that I really enjoyed the most. I was working out at Disneyland, and the guy was taking me around from WTI. He said, where would you like to see anything? I said, yeah, I'd like to go to Walt's apartment. Now he had this apartment. It was on Main Street by the fire department. And this is an apartment where he actually lived in while they were building Disneyland. And here I'm just sitting in a chair. It's got pictures of Walt there. And this is a picture of Walt and his brother Roy. But what's interesting is this light here, this green light, when it was on, they knew everybody knew that Disney was in here. So the workers, and I got this from a very good source, a guy that was hired by Disney, they would try to avoid him at all costs because he was such a pain in the ass while they were building the place. And they all had walkie-talkies. When he was walking the park, they would go, all right, he's on his way to, Tomorrowland. So be careful, but they knew he was down. He knew he was on property when he had that. And then we did some technology sharing. We had a good relationship with SeaWorld. We shared a lot of technology as far as paint. The one thing that I did with Disney was I cut their footprint on emissions from paints and coatings. When I got there, I incorporated new products that I tested, and we got rid of a lot of the VOCs. They usually emit 120 tons a year of volatile organic compounds, which destroy the ozone layer, but into the atmosphere. And by the time I got done with them after the first year, they were only emitting 20 tons. So it was a big savings. And just to show you the difference, the LA area, Orange County, where Disneyland is, for the whole year, they get rid of, they emit 6 tons. So we just cut back, and it changed a lot of the coding systems. And I even got them to build a lab to my specifications on property. And that's a real penguin, by the way, not a stuffed animal. He's a little ambassador. They opened the door where the penguins are, and he just comes walking right out. And I think we're engaged because I was rubbing his belly and he wasn't going anywhere.
Well,
And this is our
I'll follow you anywhere.
this is our staff meeting. One day after my quadruple bypass, they all came up and had a staff meeting at the hospital. So we were a very close group. And these guys are all designers and engineers, and so it was just a great place to work. And that's it.
Did you have your quadruple bypass, Mike?
It was in 2015.
2015, huh?
Yeah. And I every morning my wife's still holding the mirror under my nose, just checking.
Any lingering effects, Mike, or are you doing okay?
No, I'm doing well. I have a cigar 2 or 3 times a week, and I have adult beverages. I got nothing to complain about.
All right.
And now I'm playing trumpet.
At least you're going to die happy.
I know I'm going to die. So,
That was a fascinating tour, Mike.
do what?
That was a fascinating tour
Well, I'm
thing.
glad.
Oh, yeah.
I've
Mike.
tons of pictures. So I'm
What an
glad.
experience.
I still remember the first time I was out, we were going to the NEMC West National Music Association, whatever, and they had all their wares there at the Anaheim Convention Center. And we just walked right across the street, well, basically, but that was back in, 75, 76, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then we had another one where we had a National Association of School Music Dealers, and that was over in Sarasota. And so I had the kids with me, and we stayed at the Hilton, whatever, right there, with the train going through.
Yeah.
And then we just yeah, we went over there, and then he went to, we took him to, oh, Cape Canaveral at the time.
Okay.
And my son, you know, this is real ironic. You'll, well, not ironic, but coincidental, but yeah. And I have a picture of him. He's like 7 years old maybe, and he's got this gold jacket on with a NASA emblem patch on it. And we got to see him bring out the whatever you call them, the big thruster thing.
Yeah.
You know, and they opened up that huge thing, and guess what? He always wanted to be an aeronautical engineer. Well, guess where he is? He's in Melbourne, Florida.
Is
And
he?
he's he's Melbourne, and he went and watched the one they didn't get up the second time.
Joe,
That they're going to do that next week. I live in Melbourne.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Yeah. You have to let me know where he is. Who's he working for?
Northrop Grumman.
Northrop. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
so many aerospace companies.
Oh
down there.
yeah, it's
Collins
just crazy.
and Harris and
Yeah.
Northrop. Yeah, they're all over the place. I got a bunch
Yeah.
of people up here that they work for them.
And there are like 2 or 3 NASA bases right around there, right? Kennedy and
Well, they have Patrick. It's a Space Force base now. It's not the Air Force base.
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
I saw
that's
something
there.
this morning.
Kennedy
Somebody
Space Center, Kennedy
somebody
Space Center, Cape Canaveral.
had written a song, an official song for the Space Force, and it was just fell flat. He wasn't he wasn't in the Air Force anymore, but it was like just. I mean, I didn't hear it, but I saw the words on it and everything. I was going, "Boy, this is really sappy," you know. But he ran it by the head honcho of the Space Force, and he said, "Oh yeah, okay."
All right.
hey, Mike,
So
Yeah,
there you were in Anaheim and it was the National Association of Musical Merchants, the NAMM
Yeah,
show,
NAMM.
the winter
It's the
NAMM
NAMM
show. And the
Uh-huh.
only reason I know is I had a music store in Anchorage, Alaska, and I would go down to that show for the winter show. And you're right, it was always a treat.
Yeah.
Some great, and a bunch of great musicians playing down there too at the hotels.
Oh yeah. We had another music dealer went out there for that show one year, and this is a real kick. Matter of fact, if I'm recalling correctly, he was from Salt Lake City, and he had a music store, and his name was Bob Muchmore, I think. I'm not sure of his first name, but he named his son was with him, and he named him Les Muchmore.
Perfect.
got a bad sense of humor.
It's like, wow, make up my mind.
Less more, yeah.
And Roy
Hey,
Paris,
Roy, welcome.
you'll appreciate this also. So I remember my first trip down there for the winter show there in Anaheim, and being from Anchorage, Alaska, roll in down there. The temperatures are what, in the maybe in the 50s or something. And I'm walking around in blue jeans and a t-shirt, and everybody around me in the area has got like long furry coats on and suffering through the winter season there. And I was like,
Parkas.
what's wrong with these guys?
hey, Mike,
Yeah.
whatever compelled you to go into chemistry?
Nothing. I was always interested in science and everything. So I just picked it. Really, I could have taken business. I could have taken something. I took chemistry. So,
Right place at the
but
right time.
you know what? I did the best. Kids have you get inorganic chemistry in the beginning, but the organic chemistry is what everybody had problems with. Well, I excelled in that for some reason. I got straight A's in organic chemistry, biochemistry, and it just all made sense to me. So
That's a blessing, because like you said, it's difficult for most people.
yes.
I think it has a lot to do with playing in
deranged?
the Air Force Academy Drum and Bugle Corps.
Oh yeah, I owe it all to my musical training. Yeah.
Lysergic acid diethylene. Never mind. I digress.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so,
Oh, Mike, here's a bad joke for you. So, since you're a chemist and all of that, so as a friend of mine at the National Fire Academy once said, amines, the odor of the bowel.
okay, you're right, it was a bad joke.
Well, hey, it's me.
Yeah, that was a groaner, dude.
You would know, Ray.
No, I don't know no chemistry.
Yeah,
Guys,
but yeah, I enjoyed it.
that was really great. Mike, thanks for stepping
I'm
up.
glad.
I've got some other slides. I mean, it's only been,
Take a pause for the cause. I'll be right back.
but I know it's getting close to Ray's bedtime. I don't know if you guys want to go through some of the other things we have to talk about, or shall we just postpone them until next month?
Over here.
Okay. Well, let me share my screen and I'll come up with what I had for us to just maybe do a little bit of chatting. And okay, I guess you guys should see my calendar, right?
Yeah,
Good thing you're not busy.
Very exciting, I know. So it should say September Zoom meeting.
Yep.
See that? Okay. So here's our opening slide. Again, I changed that out. That's I think a better looking one, but and then I changed that to for Bob's sake for Zarfas, and then let's see. Okay, so Doug's not with us, but some of the things I like to do for the guys, for all of you, is kind of show you what's available on Facebook, where some of the guys are putting out stuff. So Doug's, I think I consider Doug kind of our resident humorist almost, but here's where he said that this is where he posted, and as we said, he's in Alaska on a cruise, and he says he's now been to all the states. So I don't know how he pulled that off. We'll have to ask him about that some other time. But here's one of his resident humorous jokes, and I don't know if you can see this. But it says up here, it says down here, Lieutenant, I'm certain Washington would not appreciate our fort being staffed entirely by a drum and bugle corps. And up here it says, but I thought it would be good for morale to let the men select their own career training, sir. So if you have access to Doug on Facebook, here's another one he did. I thought this was pretty good. Can you read that?
yes.
I think a lot of us are like that. And then here's a picture. Oh, yeah, this was, I can't remember the date, but I guess Paul Mayer had a birthday, right?
Yeah, yes, he did.
Not too long ago.
Now,
So here's a picture of Bob, Pat, and Paul and his wife. Barbara, is that her name?
yes,
Barbara.
Yeah. So Paul said that next month he would do a presentation for us. So I'll remind him and see if we can get him prepared to do that. Okay. Oh, this is from Smitty. He shared this. I think it was email. Can't remember. But this was an article about the famed United States Air Force Drum and Bugle Corps of Washington was disbanded, and then it goes through and talks about a few other things, but it's available if you want to get into it on this location. And in the recording, you'll see this, or we can send it out. You know what? I'll make a note, and we'll send it out with the recording. How about that? Send link of.
I'm just gonna throw something else out. If you see that center of the 3 articles there when it gets down to the bottom or bottom paragraph.
But
Now on some highlights of the young season, Hurricanes, Buccaneers, and Rebels looking good. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Connecticut
DCA.
Hurricanes, yeah. My niece, I just got that today in the mail from my niece.
Huh.
She was at the show, at the Hurricanes home show, ran into Paul Mayer. And because Paul, you know, Paul's family. And by the way, John Crowder, his birthday was September 8th.
the 8th, okay.
Just because Paul and I grew up together, and I just, you know, I send him a birthday thing and he sends one to me, so.
Yeah, didn't you and Warbeck and Paul all grew up at the same thing?
Oh, yeah, Morback, Paul and I all grew up together, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like 11, 12 years old when we all first met.
Yeah.
All in the same
The
junior
Three
corps, and then-
Musketeers. Hey, Al.
We were all in the same junior corps, and then Paul went to the academy in '66. Bob and I went to the Connecticut Hurricanes. And then Bob and I came out together for our auditions.
Huh.
That was in '68.
So you're like the Three Musketeers then.
Something like that, yeah. Although we've been called a lot of things, so.
Or those guys that see no evil, hear no evil, and speak no evil.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The Three Monkeys.
Okay, and this came from Smitty too. He said he watched that we did last month, and there was a question came up about Gil's time in the DC Corps, and he said he talked to Pat, and Gil received a hardship discharge due to his mother having emotional difficulties, and after a year home, he re-enlisted and returned to DC. From there, it's a little confusing how he went to the academy. And then Smitty said, if someone knows when the DC Corps ended, maybe we can figure it out. So I think some of you guys know more about what happened with Gil, how he came back to the academy, right?
I'm not sure. Like I used to hang around with Gil a lot.
Yeah.
I knew he was in the DC Corps, but you know, as far as time frame or dates, I don't know.
Yeah, probably if we had Paul Mayer on, he would know, probably.
Well, John, I know Gil had talked about it one time, and he said something about, you know, when, I guess because he had gone back into the Air Force, he still had so much time left on his enlistment that when the Corps was moving to DC, they basically wouldn't give him a discharge. It was sort of like me, where I re-enlisted in '73, in January '73. And then when the Corps was disbanded at the end of '73, basically they said, we own your ass for 3 more years, so you don't get a discharge.
Oh,
So I think that was sort of the same thing with Gil, but I'm not absolutely sure.
Oh, I
'Cause
didn't know
it's been
that.
a few years since
Wow.
Gil told me about that.
Did you
Wow.
pick something out to cross train, or did they tell you what you were going to do?
Well, no, I ended up cross-training into the computer operations and stayed 21 years in the Air Force and then 10 years in reserves.
Yeah.
But then I went out and actually had to find a real job and worked for the city of Indianapolis and ran all their IT stuff for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And then became a
Well, I
consultant.
don't know which picture it was, Al, but I think it was, and you were in full uniform, chief master, maybe?
Well, I was a senior master.
Senior. Okay,
Dan Guza was the chief master.
okay. Yeah, I remember that one picture. You were, what's your wife's name?
Well, I think that was probably about 85, and that's I was a master at that point, and we were going to a dining out, and it was my wife and I both in the Air Force, and both of us wore our mess dress.
Yeah.
But it was all that fancy crap, you know.
That's a great picture, though.
Oh, yeah.
so
To be
Al,
honest with you, even though the 21 years was a long time, I'd go back and do it again tomorrow.
Did you retire as an E9
Retired as an E8.
and E8? Okay.
Yeah, Ganguza was the E9.
Oh, okay. I got my E's confused. All right. Okay. So I found this picture And I grabbed it on Facebook because I think some of our guys actually played with Doc Severinsen. I think, did Paul Olivier play in a band or something?
Yeah, Paul was a backup for the group on the Tonight Show when Severinsen was in charge of the band. But I don't think Paul ever played with him.
Yeah, I think Jack Tardy did.
Jack Tardy did.
Already did. He and Severinsen were friends and played together.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they're almost like twinsies. you
Oh,
know?
yeah, but I mean, when
Very
Tardy
messy.
and Severinsen got together, you could hardly tell who was who.
Yeah.
I wonder,
They're both pretty good horn players.
I wonder if Jack Mouse ever played backup for him or anything. Anybody know about that?
I don't know.
No?
I remember as a kid, well, in where I grew up in Fairfield, Connecticut, there was a guy named Bill Ratzenberger who owned a restaurant, and Severinsen and Bill Chase and a bunch of those guys would come up from New York because it was about an hour away, and they'd come up just for a break to get out of the city, and they had some wild jam sessions.
Wow.
Hey, I don't know if you knew this, but Jack, when my number was called, on the, whatever you call it, I went out, I drove from Garden City with a buddy of mine, and we went directly to I-25 and headed north. I auditioned at Fort Carson. I auditioned out at the NORAD. And then I finally ended up at the Academy. And don't ask me how I found out where in the hell I was going. I'd never been there before. And when I got there, it must have been June, because there wasn't anybody around except Jack Tardy. And I think there was an officer, in the office. So I told him my deal, and I said, I'd like to audition, see if I can get a place in the band. And he said, well, sure, and so I had a prepared piece, played that, and then he pulled something out, and I played it, and he said, wow, yeah, we'd love to have you in the band. However, there are no slots right now because nobody's getting out during Vietnam.
All right.
And so he said, but do you know how to play baritone bugle? And I said, yeah. And he said,
I didn't know one end of the bugle from another.
yeah. And he wrote my order, or I guess, the officer wrote the orders, and I got him in my pocket, and then when I reported to Harmon Hall the first day, and I checked in and all that, and they said, okay, well, go on downstairs to the supply and check out a baritone bugle. And I said, okay. I went down and opened up the case over there in the day room, and I looked at it. I said, okay, I know where the sound comes out. I know where the sound goes in, but what's all this stuff in between? But thanks to Dave Mayer and Gil, they pulled me through that first show. Like 2 weeks later, we marched at Soldier Field. Yeah. And it was elbow to elbow contact. So they said, don't worry, just we'll steer you around.
When I got out there, they put me in a show. They were marching at a football game, and I was only out there maybe like about 3 days, and they just put me in the show, and I'm marching. And in that one part of the show, for some reason, I'm next to Larry Rhodes, and he yells guillotine, and I'm supposed to go down. And I didn't know that, and I did manage to get down, but it wasn't like a genuflection. It was like a squat, just so I didn't get smacked in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man,
The
they
head
just didn't care.
choppers. Yeah.
Ray, when I took my audition, it was pretty much the same. I auditioned for the band on tuba, and it sounded pretty much the same because they said we don't have a slot, but we got a contrabass bugle. But the one thing that I didn't get that you got was wow. Nobody said wow when I auditioned.
Yeah, I tell you what, it blew my mind though at the beginning, and then when I got out, I couldn't think. Well, I didn't know any different that the bugle was in G, and I remember, figuring out. And of course, there at the beginning there was one note that you couldn't get on the rotor and the piston, and then when I was getting taken early out to go back to school, and I was going to have to play my senior recital, so about two weeks or maybe a week before, I got my trombone out down in the day room and started practicing, and I almost cried. I mean, my ear was in the key of G.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, and it's like, whew. But yeah, I perseverated. Yes. Yeah.
That was always the problem for us drummers, key of G, key of B flat.
Yeah,
take me back, but what the hell.
Yeah, you should have been playing marimba or XY lopaphone or bells. No, bells wouldn't matter. Yeah, okay.
Well, I played so much timpani as a kid and doing stuff like that. I didn't know there was a treble clef. I thought the whole world lived in bass clef. I had no idea.
Hey, Tom is our percussionist representative here tonight. How'd you do your audition? How'd you get in?
Well, what had happened was I auditioned for the DC band, and I passed. And then I heard the same story that Ray told. Oh, by the way, the slot closed like yesterday, but the academy has an opening. Fly out there and go audition. And so literally, 2 days later, on my first jet flight in my life, up to Colorado, and audition, passed the audition, and that was kind of the nutshell. But the balance of the story is just like everybody else is going here. So you show up and you get to your instrument and you're doing some stuff, and you're not doing what you think you're going to be doing, because they said, well, you're going to be the cymbal guy. And, oh, okay, that's fine. Compared to me. And they go, oh, he just got sick, and you got to play. You got to learn the bass. You got to learn the bass drum part for a show in about 5 days. So go stand there with Ken Tyler and learn the drill, learn the whole music book, and have a good show. So yeah, literally in less than a week. So
Tom,
I keep thinking it was Utah or someplace we were going to.
did you play the bass your whole all 4 years?
No,
Did you play snare?
not there. I actually ended up playing triples and stuff.
Oh, at the academy?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were on bass. Who took over? Doug? Clint?
Well, I was, but I also played cymbals, bass, triples. They already had a good snare line, so didn't need me on that. And away you go.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, let's see here. What do we got? Let's see. Oh, Ray posted this or he emailed it.
Yeah.
And I watched that and I was blown away. Did you guys, any of you guys watch that drum solo?
Yeah.
Very well familiar with Neil Peart.
This
It's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, that was incredible. I play it for you. You know what? I'll send the link out again with the replay. Okay.
Good thing he doesn't
Neil
have a
Peart's
good
still
sized
alive,
drum
I
set.
think. Did he die?
He's gone. He died from brain cancer a couple of years back.
Oh, okay. I thought that was, yeah.
Yep.
I thought I remembered that. I don't remember a lot of things, but I remember some of that.
Yes.
I'll send it out if you got, along with the replay, because it's really pretty incredible. So
Very inventive and great imagination and technique, and the whole ball of wax. Yeah.
yeah, it's well worth kind of taking a look at. So
How many cymbals has he got on there? Like 8?
oh, he was surrounded by him. He had the set was totally all the way around him, and he actually had, I don't know what you call it, Tom, but it's like a keyboard that he played, with sticks. So it was like a piano keyboard, but he played it with the sticks and stuff.
I can't even count that many drums, never mind trying to play them.
Yeah.
It was-
I wish I sold a few of those when I owned that music store, but
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this is our good buddy Roy. He posted this. And I guess that's pretty representative of all of us, really.
Lastissimo. I love it. The louder the better.
Yeah,
By
it
the
was.
way, I have a John Simpson, and I won't share it tonight. I'm not sure I would share it in this forum, but John Simpson gave me the dynamics guide for drum and bugle corps bugles, and that he gave to the director of Atlanta at one point in time, and for his induction to the DCI Hall of Fame. And let's just say that it's really MFL, and that's just kind of the beginning of it. So I'll pull it up one of these days and share it with you guys. Maybe
I'm going
I'll
to
send
see.
it- Maybe I'll
I'm gonna
send it
see-
out as an email attachment instead.
I'm going to see John in October. I'm going to. Our group of guys goes up there once a year, take our pilgrimage.
Well, hey, Ray, so ask him for the dynamic range of bugles.
Okay.
Bugle corps. He'd be more than happy to share it with you.
Okay.
Really,
All right, well, we already had this. Mike, do you remember this picture, Al?
Oh, yeah.
and Pat Tully, there you go.
Tim Baker, Smitty, Mike, me, and Pat Tully.
Yeah,
Jimmy
On the
Spade.
day room at Christmas time.
so
Wow.
we really appreciated you doing that for us, Mike. And so,
You're welcome.
so we come to the end. It's time for bed for most of us, but next month, okay, October, we're going to go back to the fourth Wednesday, which is the 26th. And Paul has said that he would go ahead and do a presentation. But if any of you guys would like to do something similar, it doesn't have to be PowerPoint slides. It could just be talking or updating us for November. We need somebody for that. If anybody wants to do something like that. Okay? Anyone? Anybody? Bueller?
Actually,
I've already done mine.
Actually, I think Roy Parrott should do it one day.
Roy, yeah? You up for that?
You talk about hummingbirds too.
Oh
I've
man,
been
we've
to-
had all these hummingbirds coming up here. Oh man, sitting out on my patio, and I had a hummingbird this morning. He was just beyond my arm's length, and he just fluttered and just looked me right in the face, and then bloop,
Oh, yeah.
beautiful. Oh man.
Well, I don't know if you guys know, but if you follow him on Facebook, he is involved in a lot of stuff. He's a very talented guy. Roy, you're invited to sometime share your life story with us.
Yeah, well, it's not as exciting as your guys's all over the world and stuff. All my stuff has been local, but yeah, I've done some interesting stuff like you see in back of me, that big copper. That's a 3x2 hammered copper artistic that I made, and it was the union logo for the United Farm Workers that I sort of, well, when I was 15 years old, I finished a parade in Stockton in town, and then my dad said, let's go to this other place. You're already dressed in uniform. You'd be another parade, and I got in that Cesar Chavez march.
Yeah. Oh
That
yeah.
was happening in 65 from Delano to Sacramento, 340 miles. They walked city to city. So I got there and I said, yeah, I'll do whatever. And I said, well, I'll ride that horse. I carry the American flag. So anyways, go 60 years, pass up 60 years. Well, a couple weeks ago, they were doing it again
Yeah.
because they're trying to get a farm labor signed by the governor. And I got volunteered to be involved with the group.
That's a great photo, Roy. Yeah, that was really good. I was saying a sound, yes, you know.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, I was assigned a photographer, and I assembled my grandson and my son-in-law, and he had a drone video. We did all the like documentary kind of thing. So anyway, but my last video yesterday, 2 days ago, was cooking a turkey outside for the
Yes,
tailgate.
Oh, the, wait a minute, the oilless fryer.
Yeah, the oilless fryer, you know.
Well,
That-
Roy,
the
I
other one
want you to send me some of those Mexican recipes, that stuff you show out there.
Oh my
Man,
God,
man.
it's all, nothing's written. It's a
It's all,
pinch of-
it's
you know
all
how
just
it is.
improv.
Yeah,
That's
just,
my wife does that. I mean,
Oh.
we're not married, but yeah, she's from Turkey and she fixes stuff. And I say, well, how much of this did you, she says, I don't know. It's just whatever the mood is. And I said, oh, so it's jazz cooking. Okay, I got you. It's all
Yeah.
improv. Just
yeah,
So
yeah, I don't follow it. I just wing it, you know.
yeah.
So I stand in my earlier comment, and an evening with Roy Perez would be an hour well spent, believe me.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, I always tell Roy when he plants those pictures of his cooking, I say, you gotta open a restaurant, man. Those look too good.
Oh, yeah.
The hardest work in the world. Why would you want to do that?
Yeah,
You'd have to hire people because you'd be so famous. People would be coming, storming in there.
Then they could just make some and mail them to us so we could try it.
oh man, I wish I could.
Send it
Yeah.
by drone. That'd be better.
Oh,
I guess we all have to go back to Stockton, that's all.
oh, you guys are welcome.
All right, Mike, can you hear us? We're back.
I can hear you now. Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Spike.
Well,
Hey.
Welcome,
guys.
Spike. We're about to close, but you know.
Well,
Spike, I can't hear you. Turn on your mic.
Spike,
Like, you're like a bad Pink Floyd song where the lyrics go on. I can see your lips move, but I can't hear what you say.
Mike, you get the award though for diligence and persistence for making the effort. Let me tell you.
I don't know what was the matter. Is it fixed? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, can you hear us?
I don't know why.
We're sorry that we missed out on some stuff, but it's going to come out in the replay. It'll be showing theaters near you in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Mike's. I'm sorry I missed that, Mike. I really am.
that's okay. They recorded it. And, well, I've got time. Let's go through it again.
Hey, can we do
I'm
it
with
in
him.
reverse? Hey, you got to say it all in reverse, like you're marching backwards.
Hey, Mike, why I got you there, when you were showing me, I got in a little late on the Disney stuff,
Yep.
but when I was watching it, it was a few weeks ago. I had a friend pass away, and he was the vice president of the art department for a company called Ad Art.
Uh-huh.
You hear that company, Ad Art?
Now, are they out in Anaheim?
Okay. Well, he was one of the original designers of a lot of the Las Vegas of those what do you call the
resort
Front?
casinos.
the
Okay.
casino fronts, you know, as
Yeah.
you walk in and stuff. And I didn't realize the extent of that stuff that you guys go into, you know, the impact.
Oh,
of
yeah.
walk into something. And I was looking, and at the funeral, they had all these big art renderings, you know, of the fluorescent tubes, and they talked about the colors and the different daylight. They would imitate the sun going around and
Yeah.
different. But when I was watching that stuff, you know, see, now I'm a sheet metal worker and I'm by trade, and the stuff to fabricate that stuff just amazes me, you know. So hats off to you for that stuff. And when you talk about paint, I remember the only thing I remember is about paint is titanium dioxide something. The higher the number, the better the paint, something like that,
No, it's,
Anyway.
it was a very enjoyable career. I just had a great time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I'm gonna go to bed.
amazing work.
I hate to break up the party, but
It's great.
All right, so we're looking at October 26th, was it, John?
Six?
Wednesday, the last,
Yeah, yeah.
The last Wednesday?
Last Wednesday in October, 26th. Can you make that out?
I should be able to, yeah.
All
And I
right.
apologize again for last month. I got home late from doing something and just flat forgot. So,
Well, no problem. Let everybody invite a friend, so maybe we'll get our numbers back up.
yeah,
let's hope so.
Al, I think you're the only one that forgets things in this group. I think you're
well,
probably.
I wouldn't doubt that at all, Ray.
Fear there.
I'm kind of
I
upset.
missed
Ray,
my
that you called
physical
him out.
therapy appointment this morning. I just spaced it out.
Well, that's why I had to stay in the Air Force for 31 years. I had a name tag.
I always carry my driver's license with me just in
Oh, well,
case.
that's good, yeah.
I put that presentation today because I thought this meeting was tomorrow. I said, well, I still got a day to screw around with it. And Crowder says, oh no, it's tonight. So I had to get that all done today, including downloading the Google hard drive on my computer. So it was.
Well, you sure did a good job, Mike. I mean,
Yeah.
even if it was in a hurry, man.
Even for an Italian, I know. It's,
Yeah.
And I apologize again for not getting an earlier notification out.
That's okay.
I'll get the replay sent out to you guys and Tom distribute it to everybody.
Okay.
Have a great
All right,
one.
guys. See you
Okay.
next
Adios,
month.
con Dios.
Sounds good, guys. Everybody
Bye,
stay
guys.
All
safe.
right.
Take care. Stay safe.
Bye.
See you next month.
Okay.